Well, good morning, everybody. Jeff Slakey and Spencer Hughes on the Daybreak Show, and we have some great guests on today to talk via Zoom video conference. From Peninsula Credit Union, CEO Jim Morrell and VP of Lending, Chris Kirkley. Chris, how you doing? Jim, how are you?
We are doing terrific. Yep, very excited.
It's great to have you. First off, happy birthday to Peninsula, right? 85?
85 years. Yep, we've been working with members of this community for since the 30s and
It's
helping
amazing.
the community grow that entire time. So,
and now I know, Jim, you've been with Peninsula now. I'm going to say, go back in my memory banks, 11 years now.
It seems like that at times, but actually, it's only been about 8.5. So,
okay,
but it's been a lot going on during that time.
It has been a lot, and I know Peninsula is huge in the community and does a lot. We all gathered together, strange enough to say, but in January of 2019 at the Alderbrook for some housing conversations, and the need was identified there that there is a lot of housing needs in Mason County and in all of Washington, all across the country, as we've seen these problems with COVID virus now. And this seems to be something that you really took a hold of and went for it. And now you're seeing some of the fruits of this labor as you guys have just been awarded a massive grant to help out folks in this space. Is that right?
That's right, Jeff. So in 2018, one of the things that we were beginning to realize was that the workforce in Mason County was having a really difficult time trying to find any affordable place to live. And so that came together in January of 2019 with a countywide conversation just on this topic because it hadn't been happening before. And it was really exciting to see both of our chambers, the EDC, Mason County government, the city of Shelton, a whole lot of private businesses and entities, large businesses saying, yeah, this is really important that we have a place for our employees, our workforce to live. And so that was sort of the impetus behind getting this going. We did that with the help of the Northwest Credit Union Foundation to put on that event. And then fast forward to today, or the end of last month, we were notified by the Community Development Financial Institution Fund, or CDFI fund, which is a part of the U.S. Treasury, that we won a $900,000 grant to help with this work and to help continue to revitalize our lower income community in Mason County.
Chris, let's bring you in now to the conversation and talk about what you as the VP of Lending are looking at when you see this. You got the email from Jim that the grant came through and he said, this is awesome. We're going to be able to help so many people in our community. But how is this money going to be able to help?
Well, first we'll take a step back and see what, further work with our community partners to see really what the needs are. We don't have to, we want to make sure whatever we're creating or building supports the community, not creating something just to create it. We want to be fulfilling a need. So we do have some ideas. I don't want to spill the beans yet, but do have some pretty good ideas. And then what we want to do is either through consultation with others, community, find out, continue to peel back the onion a little bit more. So we find out really what some needs are that we can really put those funds to use.
That makes a lot of sense as I think about your position, what people do when they come and they go to Peninsula Credit Union and start the process and applications for loans and things like that. You very well could make a huge splash in the pan and say Peninsula Credit Union, yada, 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 excited, $900,000. But just like that, it could be gone. And when you talk about lending and you talk about long-term, 30-year mortgages, 5-8-year car loans, you really have to think long-term when you're gaming this out. So people on day one are going to be able to realize that success at the end of whatever journey they go on with Peninsula.
Absolutely. We want to, towards creating workforce housing opportunities through either down payment assistance. We do have a program in place now for that. maybe building on down payment assistance programs, getting members of the community, not just members of Peninsula, but getting them into affordable housing. That is the big push behind this grant.
Jim, talk to me a little bit about, I see in your press release, Congressman Heck in the 6th, which represents Shelton and a large portion of the part of the Peninsula area. He seems that he was excited about this, and the relationship with him when it comes to these housing issues, it seems to be there.
It absolutely is. Congressman Heck has been one of the leaders back in Washington, D.C. for identifying really this national crisis that we have of being 7 million housing units short across the country for affordable housing. And so we've really built a strong relationship with the congressman to help us understand that issue better, and then to translate it here locally to Mason County as well. So, you know, without getting too geeky on the numbers, what we're really talking about as far as income levels are people making anywhere between $40,000 to $93,000 a year in their household, and affordability, so that somebody's not cost burdened in their housing, as HUD defines it, is that household is spending 30% or less. So that's roughly $1,000 to $2,300 a month for mortgage or rent payments, utilities, property taxes if you own a home, and that's really difficult to do. So if we can work more closely with the city of Shelton, with Mason County, as they develop their development codes, as they reconsider that, with some of the other partners that, you know, construction trades and so forth, to understand how is it that we can increase the housing availability in our community, that will help us try and achieve our goal of having more people that work here live here. So that's ultimately what we're after, and hopefully kind of puts it in context. You're talking about $1,000 to $2,300 a month for housing expenses.
So when we gathered back in January and we're talking about the needs, and you're talking about the national needs, I can only imagine since COVID, the needs have gotten worse, or has some of that been held off? I mean, are we not seeing a lot of the tenants having to be evicted and things like that? I mean, I feel like the governor had done some things, and then even President Trump had put in some national moratoriums on evictions and things like that. Do you think that's going to come around later in the next few years and really kind of have a major impact, or are we going to be able to push through this a little bit?
I fear, Jeff, that we might see that sooner than later, because those moratoriums, I think, are set to expire here in the next few weeks. And so we may have a considerable eviction issue on our hands. Hopefully those get extended at the state and the federal level. Hopefully Congress and the administration can come together on some type of relief. It was not promising, the news I just heard at noon today, but but Chris could talk a little bit about what we're seeing in the overall housing market, because there's a lot of activity going on, both refinance and purchase activity, which drives prices up in our community, in large part because people are moving out of the urban areas wanting to live here.
Yeah, Chris, I talked to a ton of realtors, and they say the median house prices in Shelton, Mason County, I mean, they're hundreds of thousands of dollars, and that takes most everybody out of the equation on those numbers we were just talking about.
Exactly, it really does. The median price has gone up, and then you also impact that with historically low mortgage rates, which is allowing more buying power for some, which is also driving up some of the valuations and some of the loans. So that's kind of a trickle effect between both of those. But refi business has been really booming. As I mentioned, the rates being historically low, there's talk of there being an increase come December 1st of at least a half point, which may slow that refinance business. But even homes on the market. I mean, some realtors that are more in the trenches could probably speak more to the real numbers, but it's my understanding the inventory itself is really, really low.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
those that do get on the market turn really quickly.
It seems like just, I mean, individual housing now, the land, the lots of land are going fast too. Jim, is there a number out there that would level this? So you said it nationally, there's a huge housing shortage. If tomorrow magically that number was filled, would everything kind of go okay? Would the market start to level out a little bit more, or would that just add on to this a whole nother problem?
Well, as with my economic background, Jeff, I think certainly, as Chris was pointing out, if we magically tomorrow had 7 million additional units available, supply and demand, it would push down prices, right? And that would help. I think part of what can help too is helping people, particularly individuals in today's environment with the COVID economic impact from COVID impacting their household budgets. The more we can help them budget their funds, the more that we can help them refinance, as Chris was talking about, not only real estate types of loans, but any other type of debt that they might be carrying, then we help lessen the expenses. One of the challenges we have had historically here in Mason County, and I think the latest numbers that I have from the United Way ALICE program, the Asset Limited Income Constrained and Employed program that they run, that we also talked about at that summit in January of 2019, is that 52% of our households in Mason County are at or below a household survival budget, meaning that they're making just enough money in order to pay for their monthly expenses, housing being the largest, if not the largest component of that, but everything else that they need to pay for as well. Transportation, healthcare, you name it, food. So we're trying to assist people in improving their financial lives by providing them education and more understanding of what steps they can take in order to do that, by bringing tools, products, and services to the table that help support them in down payment assistance programs, which Chris mentioned that we already have today, and then increasing in creative ways the housing availability. So if we're able to finance a home, as an example, as a for instance, on a property where that owner could also build an ADU or a prefabbed home, rent that out to a permanent resident of Mason County, not turn it into a VRBO, but rent it out. That income can then help further add to the household revenue or income and help offset the mortgage expense, right? So we have to be creative. And when people can't make that, we have to be there for them to help prepare them to assume a mortgage when they're ready and when we can approve them.
I know that you guys do work hard in all parts of the community to mention some of those things like you were talking about. There's a lot as well on the Peninsula's website at pcfcu.org. Again, branches are temporarily closed. Drive-through appointment only because of COVID. Always check with your local branch, of course, when it comes to that. You can find them on Facebook as well. And there'll be more information coming out over the next couple of months on how you possibly could receive some help based off this major grant that Peninsula was able to work hard and receive. Chris, good to see you. Jim, it's always good to see you. I know the team over there is great. Jen and Kirk and everybody at Peninsula is always there to help with folks. And I'm glad to see you all are safe and healthy, and we'll check in before too long.
Great. Thanks, Jeff. And thanks to all our members too and their patience during this COVID time too. Just if you do need to come in and see us, don't hesitate to give us a call, and we'll be more than happy to make an appointment and see you in person or through the drive-through or other means.
Sounds good.